Greetings, this is Dr. Jeffrey Scott. This is my Market MRI Pro update for Monday evening, May 19th, 2025. Today was really a cool day in the market. The market's been so strong. And of course, my weekly market timing model turned positive last week. I just couldn't believe that this run would be broken because of the third credit downgrade. We started lower, we closed higher, and thus the title of tonight's update is Resilient Markets End Higher Despite Higher Rates and Credit Downgrade. Is it a one-day wonder? It could be. I still think we're going higher. Again, my name's Jeffrey Scott. It's May 19, 2025. You can reach me at marketmripro@gmail.com or hgsidoc@gmail.com. Join my Google group. It's called Top Down Trader. It's free. There's no solicitation. You'll get discounts on my tools. If you're new to my channel, hit subscribe. Hit the alarm. You'll get notified when I do this. Sometimes I don't post them. You're better off joining Top Down Trader group. And any constructive criticism, positive or negative, is fine. Just either put it in the remarks section on YouTube or email me, and I will respond to pretty much everyone that is needing or requesting a response. So, next slide. This is for educational purposes only. Anything I talk about or recommend should always be considered in the spirit of education and not investment advice. The intent of the video is to demonstrate the tools of top-down analysis and how I apply them. Trading involves risk. You are solely responsible for any investment decisions you make. I may own or intend to buy or sell any stock mentioned in this report. Trading stocks and options should be considered risky, and you should consult with your financial advisors before making trades. And I have tools in multiple platforms, but I am an independent trader. If you are available, I highly recommend you consider the Orange County meeting June 6th through 8th. It'll be held at the Residence Inn and Suites in Tustin, Orange County. It's a John Wayne Airport-based hotel. $400, 5 speakers, 3 days of great education. But there's more. For those that have not yet purchased my Market MRI Pro, this will be I will give you back the entire price of your admission if you decide to purchase it. Now, of course, the price is considerably more than $400, but you'll get $400 off. If you are a top-down trader, that means you'll get $500 off if you attend the meeting, and this will be in lieu of the stacking discounts that we had at the launch. So you'll get to come for free, basically, because you'll get it discounted off the software. In fact, if you attend internet or live, we'll send to all paid attendees a week before the meeting a link with user ID and password, so you can actually use Market MRI Pro and get used to it a week before the meeting, have it available to you during the meeting. And if you want to purchase it, that's great. If not, it'll turn off a couple weeks after the meeting. I spoke with Greg, or interacted with Greg yesterday. There may be a spot or two left in the room, but the rest are going to go to the internet. All attendees, internet or live, not only will they get the potential discount on Market MRI Pro, but they'll also get videos of all the presentations and my PowerPoint slides as PDFs. We have confirmed, this lineup is incredible. John Person, Dan Fitzpatrick, Chris White, Matt Caruso. I'll be live in the room, and we're going to have a great time together. So consider coming. Join my Google group. It's called Top Down Trader. Just go to Google Groups, put your Google ID in, search for Top Down Trader. Tell me how you want to be contacted, and you'll be on my list, and you'll get my emails pretty much every night, and most nights, except if I'm in planes, trains, or automobiles all night long, you'll get a video, whether I put it on YouTube or not. Know your news and earnings. So it was a quiet day on Monday from a earnings perspective, a news perspective, with just leading economic indicators. Lots of Fed heads. We've got Fed heads again on Tuesday. I think we're certainly at an interesting time from the economy. We have normalized the yield curve, which means, geez, after you have an inversion and you normalize, pretty much all the time you're going to get a recession at some point, but we've had no sign of that as yet. So that's not here yet. The economy seems to be humming. Employment is still positive. The Fed still doesn't have too much pressure to cut. Then you got Mr. Tariff out there, and the tariffs, I think, are what keeps a lot of us concerned, although we're in this great period of time now where everybody gets a holiday to see if they can't cut a deal. So right now, that I think is what's propelling the market higher. Certainly the Chinese engagement certainly helped this past week. The news flow could start to turn negative if the U.S. doesn't see the deals coming to them as they expected. And I think that's one thing that worries me a bit. I mean, the news sunk the market with Liberation Day. The news of the forbearance for 90 days helped. And then the softening of the relations with China helped again. But what if the news flow turns negative? So it's just something to be careful of. Tuesday before the open, we've got Home Depot. I think that's always something that's a big deal. Palo Alto after hours. Zoom, a big name, I guess, on Wednesday. Target and TJ Maxx in the morning. So there's still some big earnings left. Got some home builders. So it's a judgment call to hold stocks over earnings dates. It's bad judgment to not know when your stock's earnings date is scheduled. Let's go to the charts. So we'll start. I'm going to use the whole analysis is using Market MRI Pro. The data is updated pretty much real time, but it's not streamed. So during the day, I was testing it out, and if I hit like the reset during the day, it would take 2 or 3 seconds to update. You could see Bitcoin was up 1.33% after starting down over 1,000 points. You could see volatility was up 1.23. So if those are the leading movers, it's never great. But then you can see here that the spider was up a bit, 0.1. The Qs were up 0.1. Diamonds up 0.35. And the only down one was the Russell down 0.42. And then you look over here and you see all of these closed at almost at the high of the day. So this was a story of a big drop and a crawl back and ending the market. They mixed with only the Russell 2000 down. If you look at the S&P sectors on the day, you could see the only things that were down were tech, discretionary, and energy. So you had a little bit of a reversion to defensive with healthcare, utilities, and staples. Now, industrials have been extremely strong. In fact, when you look out here at a 50-day change, you could see number one over the last 50 days was industrials, even outperforming technology. Back to the one-day change, from a theme perspective, gold miners, blockchain, cannabis, silver, genomics and biotech, copper miners, biotech, Southeast Asia, aerospace. We're seeing a lot of biotech of late. Most of them are, I won't say junk because they're not junk companies, great companies that have been sold off and under pressure for quite some time, showing a little bit of improvement. And we will see if that continues. Over here, you can see new high minus new lows on the NYSE at 12 months positive, and here we are positive on the NASDAQ. That's an improvement. Here are sectors positive, 45% versus all on Friday, 43% industry groups versus almost all on Friday. So definitely weakening in the S&P 1500, and the same thing in the NASDAQ and the NYSE. 36% of the S&P 15 positive, 47% in the NASDAQ, 44% in the NYSE. So mixed day in the markets, but much better than where it opened. And the average stock was flat to down. If we look at the buckets, we'll see minimal change. We're looking for a build-up above and an overbought, below on an oversold. We moved a little bit to the left. You could see yesterday was the gray bars. Today is the colored bars with reduced in these three. but really minimal change in the bucket. Still a relatively neutral looking market. Market breadth, again, what a resilient session. You got to be impressed with how the markets actually held up on what could have been an excuse for a failure and a big sell-off. You could see the market opened here on the NYSE, traded all the way here. So the open was at 19,934. It was down 150 points, 152 points, and it closed at the high of the session. And on the other hand, the Nasdaq just opened way down and closed up at the high of the day as well. Volume was good on the Nasdaq, lighter than the last several on the NYSE. We can see maybe a little flattening of the stocks above the 20, 50, and 200. Here we can see new high, new lows were positive on both. But the AD lines were negative on both, more negative than positive. Not too hard to figure that one out. Although the up-down volume on the NASDAQ was still positive. And interestingly, on both of them, we got that red X at the bottom, which is a bango, which is an exuberance day. When I look at the timing model, not enough change to change the timing, and you can see the weekly model. This is the second green bar, but this bar is still early. But we did turn to a buy on the weekly, and we've been in a buy, as you can see on the dailies. So my timing model says it's okay to be long, and I deployed some cash with the market turning around. I still have a little cash on the side. Part of me still worries a little bit, but I do think we're going higher, and I'll continue to deploy. If we look at the index ETFs, if you have the program, you just highlight the one you want to look at, and you can open it up like this, and you could see that just a beautiful V recovery. Here's kind of the old high area. I guess officially the old high is there. We stuttered in this level a little bit below. Right now, a retest to the 200 and a bounce would be okay. We're going to see the 50 cross back above with a golden cross before too long. Sideways and then a break higher, okay as well. So I wouldn't be surprised or disappointed to see us pause here. Now, break and close below the 200, I wouldn't be too happy with that. So the S&P, you can see in the market, it was up 0.1%. If we close this and just look at the NASDAQ, looks very similar. Tall candle, open, lower, close, fine. Also 0.1. We look at the Dow. This one's still, bouncing off that 200 again, opening right there, up 0.35. The Russell give us a little bit of consolidation after this gap up, and that was the only one that's down 0.42. You can see VIX on the daily was actually up 5%. Interesting. The fact that it's a solid bar says it closed way off the high. And then you can see it opened at 1984 and it closed at 1814. And then the dollar came back down as well. If we look at the commodities, gold bouncing around off of that 50, had a nice session in the market, up 1.29. Silver was up 0.41. Oil trying another assault on the 50 was up 0.60. And natural gas was down over 6%, breaking below the 200. On the 10-year up top was up 0.77. The 30-year below was up 0.84. But look at the candles. These both gapped higher, traded a little higher, and closed near the bottom of the session, sort of the opposite of the equities. If we look at the my JAS layout, we could see that we have 3,500 stocks, give or take. These are stocks NYSE, NASDAQ, Amex, filtered for $1, 100,000 shares. I've got every one of them are attached into an industry group and sector of which you can always look at with market cap. But what I want to do here is go to my top-down view, and I'm interested in industrials. But let's see what was the big mover in the market on Monday. When we put all the stocks in, you can see the industrials were relatively flat. Utilities, healthcare were leaders. So if I'm interested in industrials, I can click on it, and all 430 stocks in the industrials come in here. But I can go over here, and these just are the industry groups in industrials, and I could pick on the top 5, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then I could do many different ways of looking at them. I might look at the biggest number of up dots. So XTIA is a cheap stock, so we're going to go right through that. The next one is also a relatively cheap stock. Something happened. It looks like they had a split here. Let's see what the news was. Sale is fair. The sale is fair. Well, if I own the stock that was $11 forever and it's getting bought at 38.50 a share, it's just SVT stock alert. I don't know why I'd be suing. I'd be laughing all the way to the bank. Well, that's a takeout. Um, let's put on a filter for $5 and 500,000 shares. Let's skinny this down a bit. And MATX, it's working its way up. I'd rather find something that's already broken above the 200. Quest Microsystems, GSL, ERJ, Jet Manufacturing, Zim, Integral Shipping, RTX. This probably looks the best of the bunch. I think RTX is Raytheon. RTX striking, wins a contract. You look in here at fundamentals, you can see next earnings are due July 24th. You can see consistent surprises on revenue and on earnings with growth, pays a 2% dividend, so easy to have this. And what I like about this one, it just broke out. So that might be one way to search. All right. Now, as I mentioned, the leading sectors were utilities, healthcare, and basic materials. I might hit those 3 and rank the ones that are in industry groups there. And let's just pick the top 10. And let's include biotech because we know that's working. And let's look at 2-day momentum and start going down the list. Progenic, yeah, it's a great looking chart, but I don't know anything about the company and it's already extended. United Healthcare has been beaten up. This is probably just a makeup bounce. GE Vernova, this is a beautiful move here. A beautiful move. Pulled back to the 200, and look how the dots changed to all blue. The green line, relative strength in OBV breaking out here. The challenge is it's not showing extended because it still doesn't have enough bars to get there. But is this thing getting to the point where you're kind of in a double top area? So that worries me a little bit, but this has certainly been a big leader, and it was up in the market significantly, 4.5%. Humana, okay, Humana, there you go. Looks like United, I mean, that's a pretty big reversal candle. ALNY, Elevance, another payer. Caledonia Mining. So you can run through and look at any of these, look like your favorite trade. Not seeing it. So 2 different ways there. I looked at one of my favorite sectors, the top industry groups in that sector, and looked at their stocks. Another way, which we're not going to do, is I could just have come in here, rank these by 1-day performance. These are all the industry groups, and just look at what's in the top 5 or 10. I also like to do top down. So we're already looking at $500,000 and $500,000 stock, or shares rather. Let's go to pullback and uptrend, hit OK, and rank by number of dots. And this is a great way to find things that are moving. Here's that PTIX. It's a beautiful move here. It's gone from less than $1 to 11. Imagine if you owned thousands of those shares. It's another merger or takeout. Okay. Well, they're great to be in. I'll announce May 19. Let's see if we can figure out who it is. Oh, forget that. It's not a takeout. It's a 1-for-14 split. Whether it's fair to the shareholders. All right. We don't care about 15 to 1 splits, do we? It's usually a sign of death, not of strength. ZTO, TXNM is a utility. Something happened here as it had a pretty impressive wedge pop. On massive volume, 4 blue dots. Relative strength crossing over, OBV crossing over. Were there earnings? Nope. Was there news? Some other takeover. Another takeover at 61.25. So you know what? This one's dead to me. I don't play those. Novavax just got its COVID vaccine, MD. I know we'll find something that looks good. So I just go down the list until I find something that's in an uptrend, that's pulled back, that looks interesting. And I think Vista Energy looks interesting here. Deep pullback. It's run up here, broke above the 200. Successful retest, decent volume, 2 dots. And that's the one I might be looking at this going into the markets on Tuesday. And let's just look up here and see it pays a dividend. I think, nope, doesn't pay a dividend. You can see earnings, does make money, revenue, some growth. All right. And then, I just saw one that we looked at over the weekend. We talked about the quantum computers, and this was one of them. ARQQ continued with Friday's move with a big move on Monday. And hopefully you got into that. This was one that we talked about over the weekend. So, looked at a bunch of stocks. I think the market goes higher here. It's not without risk, but my timing model says it's okay to be long. Have a great day on Tuesday. I'll try and see you Tuesday night. Thanks, everybody. And in case you missed it, I made an offer that I haven't made it yet. It's not too late to sign up for the Orange County meeting. Great speakers, and I'll give you 100% credit whether you pay $300 or $400 towards a new purchase of the Market MRI Pro. This will be in lieu of stacking discounts, and if you're smart enough to sign up for Top Down Trader 2, that'll get you an extra $100. We'll see you all tomorrow. Thank you.